The Midwest is full of cities that are often overlooked by coastal tastemakers and urbanists nationwide. But there may be no city with more urbanist strengths on offer, but less attention than Milwaukee. Like many Midwestern cities, 100 years ago, Milwaukee built grand public parks, neighborhoods full of character, and a robust streetcar system. Like many of those cities, it struggled through the second half of the 20th century. Perhaps more than most, it is now building on its good bones to reemerge as a surprisingly affordable and delightful city to live in. In the 20th century, Milwaukee's leaders were so focused on the public good, they were called sewer socialists. It's a city that, despite facing profound challenges that hollowed out many of its neighborhoods, is quietly building a practical and forward-thinking transit system and reknitting its urban fabric. This is Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it might just be the most underrated urbanist gem in America. Welcome to Heartland Urbanist. Let's dive in. I'm Matt Caffrey, a dad and an organizer based in Columbus, Ohio. If you believe in the potential of Midwestern cities, be sure to subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Milwaukee is a city I've been eager to cover since the beginning of the channel more than 2 years ago. I've visited a few times and always been impressed. It's the largest city in Wisconsin with about 575,000 people in the city proper and over 1.5 million in the metro area. And while it's had a challenging 60 years, it offers a powerful lesson in how a city's past can pave the way for a better future. Chapter 1, Good Bones. Let's start at the city's beginnings. Built on the shores of Lake Michigan, its identity was forged by waves of German immigrants in the 19th century. They turned Milwaukee into a brewing powerhouse, the home of Pabst, Schlitz, Miller, and a cultural center so vibrant it was called the German Athens of America. They brought more than beer and bratwurst. They brought a political philosophy centered on the public good. This culminated in one of the most unique stories in American governance, Milwaukee's era of sewer socialism. For nearly half of the 20th century, from 1910 to 1960, with only a brief interruption, Milwaukee was run by socialist mayors. Unlike state or federal socialism, their focus was intensely local and practical. They earned the nickname sewer socialists because they were obsessed with infrastructure, especially clean water, sanitation, and public health. Under mayors like Daniel Hone and Frank Ziedler, the city developed a reputation for being one of the safest and best governed in the nation. More importantly for our story, they created an incredible public realm. They expanded the city's emerald necklace of parks, many designed by the legendary Frederick Law Olmsted firm, creating a world-class public park system that remains one of the city's greatest assets today. They built public housing, robust public markets, and fostered a sense of civic pride. This was a city that invested in itself. For transit, the city's streetcars had 20 lines at its peak in the 19-teens, as well as multiple interurban lines that took passengers to outlying towns like Kenosha. The streetcars were central to life in Milwaukee, and residents valued both the system and its workers. During a streetcar labor dispute, residents sided with the workers over their corporate owners and supported their strike, boycotting the service and refusing to rent scabs hotel rooms or serve them at restaurants. But like so many other cities, first streetcars and then the city itself declined rapidly. The post-war decades were brutal. In 1958, the last streetcar was taken out of service. By the way, in the 1950s, prior to the streetcar's fall, Milwaukee's last socialist mayor, Frank Ziedler, attempted to save the system by creating a regional transit authority, a precursor of today's system, but was blocked by Wisconsin's state government. The brewing giants moved or consolidated. Deindustrialization hit hard, and the automobile, perceived as a symbol of freedom, became a weapon of urban destruction. Freeways ripped through the urban fabric. The I-794 East-West Freeway cut off downtown from the historic 3rd Ward, while the Park East Freeway, completed in 1971, was a raised highway that severed the city's heart from its northern neighborhoods, destroying 800 homes and 100 businesses in the process. It would have been even worse. The original plan was to extend the freeway to loop downtown, but residents pushed back and blocked the project. This era also entrenched Milwaukee's deepest wound, racial segregation. Through a toxic mix of redlining, restrictive covenants, and white flight to the suburbs, the metro area became and remains one of the most segregated in the United States. This isn't just a historical footnote. It's a present-day reality that helps shape everything, including transportation, and makes the fight for equitable transit profoundly important. But Milwaukee is also resilient. Starting in the early 2000s, it began to turn a corner. In a move that was almost unthinkable at the time, the city tore down the Park East Freeway spur. Where a concrete barrier once stood, a neighborhood reemerged. The Fiserv Forum, home of the Milwaukee Bucks, and the surrounding Deer District now stand on that reclaimed land, stitching the city back together. That success story, combined with the revitalization of the once derelict historic Third Ward, set the stage for a new chapter. Chapter 2, Underrated Urban Fabric. What makes a city great isn't just one thing, it's the whole fabric. And today, Milwaukee's urban fabric is stronger and more diverse than most people realize. Let's start with local transit. Created in 1975, the Milwaukee County Transit System, or MCTS, is simultaneously one of the nation's best and one of the most endangered. The system served 25 million trips last year, nearly back to pre-pandemic levels, and overall, a larger share of Milwaukee residents rely on transit than you might expect in a metro of 1.5 million, at around 5%. MCTS is also innovating with projects like the Connect One, a true bus rapid transit line with electric buses and dedicated lanes that has improved travel times by 20% and will increase ridership along the corridor by 17%. The system also has a set of 4 express lines with colored names: blue, purple, green, and red. They have higher frequency and wider stop spacing, but are not BRT. They also have a great fare system with the UMO app and Wisco smart card that supports capped fares so that you don't have to buy a pass. Just use the system until you hit the daily, weekly, or monthly cap. Lots of bigger systems nationwide don't have that. So it's a pretty impressive bus system, especially considering the size of the city. That said, after years of advocacy, the system still has no dedicated local funding stream, instead seeing a shrinking share of the county-wide budget and less state support. This is a structural funding crisis that is already forcing significant frequency cuts to several lines this year and could result in eliminating lines entirely in the next few years. Getting around Milwaukee isn't just about the bus. It also has a streetcar, the Hop, that mostly circulates folks around downtown destinations. It's free, which might make you think of Cincinnati. The city is also making real strides in bike and pedestrian infrastructure. It's pretty walkable, with an average walk score of 62, making it the 15th highest among the 50 largest cities in America. More impressively, over 4% of Milwaukee residents walk to work. For biking, the Oak Leaf Trail is a massive 135-mile network of paths that encircles the entire county, connecting parks and neighborhoods. On the street level, the city is adding miles of protected bike lanes. And neighborhoods like the historic Third Ward, Brady Street, and Bayview boast incredible walkability, with shops, cafes, and classic Cream City brick apartments, all within easy strolling distance. And that connectivity extends beyond the county line. Milwaukee is a key hub of what is arguably the most successful passenger rail corridor outside of the Northeast, the Amtrak Hiawatha service. With 7 daily round trips, the Hiawatha provides fast, reliable, and comfortable service to Chicago, making it easy to live in one city and work in or visit the other. There's also the new Borealis, with daily service to the Twin Cities, as well as an additional connection to Chicago, and the daily Empire Builder, with an additional connection to Chicago, as well as points west all the way to Seattle or Portland. It really makes me so jealous, sitting here in a significantly larger city that has no intercity rail service at all. Last, here's one of Milwaukee's biggest competitive advantages. You can actually afford to live there. While housing prices are rising, Milwaukee remains one of the most affordable major cities in the country, at less than half the national median housing costs to own and about 30% lower to rent. City Nerd ranked it 7th in the nation for affordable urbanism. This isn't just a number. That means that families, artists, entrepreneurs all have a chance to put down roots or take a risk at something new. It creates a more stable, diverse, and resilient community. This affordability is the cornerstone of the city's quality of life. Chapter 3, Building the Future. So Milwaukee has a lot to work with as it charts a path into the future. In the short term, it needs to navigate a transit budget shortfall and whatever attacks come from Washington. But long term, it has good bones and good momentum in the right direction. And it's affordable enough to entice people to choose to move there and help them build that future, something most of our great cities lack. In the second half of this century, as climate change accelerates, it may become a hot commodity, or cool, with moderate climate and unlimited access to fresh water being right on Lake Michigan. For transit, the most exciting plan is for a second BRT line, the proposed North-South BRT. It would transform the current Purple Line Express bus along this 18-mile route. It would run from the job-rich suburb of Glendale through the heart of the city and all the way to the airport and a second job center on the south side. Most importantly, it's an equity project. The line is designed to serve a corridor where 40% of the residents are low income and 25% don't have access to a reliable vehicle. It would connect historically underserved Black and brown neighborhoods on the north side with jobs and to the city's vibrant amenities. from the world's largest music festival, Summerfest, on the lakefront, to the stunning Calatrava-designed art museum. Now, this plan is on hold for now because of the budget constraints, but the Purple Line was recently awarded a $21 million federal grant to improve safety, travel times, and station comfort. This city is scrappy, learning from its sewer socialist legacy to get every ounce of benefit it can for its residents. Conclusion: the sewer socialist spirit. So what does it all add up to? Affordable housing, better transit and walkability than you'd expect, great parks and other amenities, and the best intercity rail connections of any mid-sized city outside of the Acela corridor, with 9 round trips daily to Chicago, and connections from there all over the Midwest or through O'Hare Airport to the rest of the world. And the culture and history ties you to a scrappy progressive legacy that sets an example of how to fight back today. Trump called Milwaukee a horrible city weeks before accepting the nomination there. He and his Republican allies are now assaulting transit and urbanism on all fronts. But Milwaukee's progressive and activist history offers inspiration on how we can keep fighting back for our cities nationwide. I've loved my visits to Milwaukee, taking Amtrak, getting around entirely car-free, from fun, walkable neighborhoods to surprisingly great parks and museums to a bus system that's more practical than you'd expect. Milwaukee has exceeded my expectations in a big way. It's a city with a good foundation and a legacy of investing in public good. Today, you can see the spirit of those sewer socialists alive and well. It's in the practical, people-first philosophy that says our streets should be safe for everyone, whether they're in a car, on a bike, or on foot. It's in the fight to fund a transit system that serves as a lifeline for tens of thousands. It's in the belief that a great city should have world-class amenities, vibrant culture, and housing that people can actually afford. Milwaukee is facing real challenges. The fight for transit funding is particularly urgent, and the scars of segregation are deep. But Milwaukee is doing the hard work. It's a city on the rise again, and its fight to build a more equitable, accessible, and enjoyable future is a story the whole country should be watching. If you're in Wisconsin, join the effort by advocating for stable transit funding. And wherever you are, learn from Milwaukee's example and fight for your city to better serve all of its residents. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive into Milwaukee. What do you think? What other underrated Midwestern cities should I cover? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Heartland Urbanist for more deep dives into the great cities of the Midwest. Heartland Urbanist is also available ad-free on urbanists.video, a great open source community. Go check it out. Thanks for watching and see you next time.